Crazy. I unscrewed the light bulb a little bit and
There you
no
go.
buzzing. What's up, motherfuckers?
Yes, dude. What are
Four
you up
and
to,
three.
man?
Man, I'm just living the good life. Smoke them if you got them, bro. I just want to say that game was a hell of a game. Shout out to everybody who watched that with us. We appreciate you guys joining us on YouTube. It's so much fun to hang out during the games.
It really is, man. Like I gotta say, is that we have a couple guys that come out there a lot. Jared
Every
and
tons of
Unk.
people.
Yeah, dude. It's always nice to see those guys. For me, I know this is not for everybody. It's one of those things that getting in front of a mic, even for me, is difficult. So I totally get why a lot of people aren't coming. But what I want to start doing, Mark, and this is something that we got to look at, is opening up the call, 100% opened on at halftime.
All right.
We do our own fucking halftime show, and we
Halftime
all
show.
sit there, we all hang out. Smits, all these other guys that Caleb, all these other guys that have come here before and been on the show. I think we need to start doing that. I think it'd be really, really cool if we just start doing the halftime hangout show and just ball out like that. It's usually about 30-minute show, and halftime is boring as fuck anyway. So sitting around and talking to a bunch of dudes seems like a hell of a good idea. Kind of like a circle jerk without the jerk,
Or we could do everything,
or
whatever
we
you
could
guys
do it
are
all.
into. So I was watching a Joe Rogan podcast today,
Oh,
and he
good.
was
Joe's
talking
all
to
right.
Lex Friedman about using anal beads to win at chess, vibrating anal beads.
Yeah.
Um, that really doesn't have anything to do with anything else. I just want to say that, Dave. Back to you.
Um, Vibrating anal beats. Haven't tried that yet.
But man, you could be
So
good at chess if you got good at feeling the vibes.
dude, I gotta say is that I think I could get good at anything if I was feeling those vibes. I'll be honest with you, man. I probably could conquer anything. So
Speaking
um
of conquering anything, bro, our rookies. How about their
shit, bro.
defense? Holy crap! Case and Wallace 4 steals, including incredible harassment defense on Trey Young. Chet, how many
Ward him
blocks did he
down,
get?
dude.
Did Chet get 4 blocks himself? I feel like it was like one
I'm
of those
pulling it up
games,
right
bro.
now.
Man, his just presence. He had one possession. He didn't get a block on the first challenge he had at the rim. Stands the guy straight up, no foul, defense, recovers and blocks the next shot. So not every single thing that he does is going to be counted in the stats.
Exactly, man. He had 3 blocks on the night, but to me, really where we want to highlight and really get to is just like Mark said, the defensive aspect these rookies bring. Between Chet and Casey Wallace, they had 4 steals. I'm sorry, we had 5 steals and 3 blocks. So essentially, Casey didn't get a block, but he had 4 steals. So you look at that type of defense, and you see how he was able to shut down Trey Young, even for it was a small amount of time that he played him. I still look at that, and the reason why we won the game and Dort cut off that shot from Trey Young and blocked that shot from Trey Young is because Casey Wallace, Dort, um, throw out Andrew Wiggins for 7 minutes. Like these guys played against Trey Young, and they really did an enormous job on him, really shutting off his lanes, making every shot difficult. He shot like something insane, like 5 for 18 on the night, 1 for 5 3 pointers. He got to the foul line 11 times, which is just disrespectful considering that Shea only made it to the foul line 6 times. But I have to say, though, I like the way that we played him. We dared him to do the things that he didn't want to do. And honestly, there's a couple times that he shouldn't have hit a shot. So really, Trey Young hitting those crazy shots that he does, if he wasn't for that, he would definitely be under 20 points. So great job for these guys and playing Trey last night.
Let's talk a little about Josh Giddey. You know, I thought he played a really good game, super aggressive, overcame missing some shots that I know he felt like he should have hit, which can be frustrating. But we talked about it at halftime.
Hmm.
Stay aggressive and things will happen. He stayed aggressive and bad things happened at first. He stayed aggressive toward the fourth quarter and everything started opening up for him. So great stuff by him. But also, like, he got a technical. He got a technical and he really didn't show up the refs. I just feel like overall it kind of points to a level of disrespect. Or how about this? A level of respect that we have to earn, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, dude.
What do you think about it?
Yeah, going over what Josh did last night, he had 8 points, 4 assists, 7 rebounds, 3 of which were offensive. Um, you know, 4 for 13. So it wasn't necessarily a good shooting for him, But how many shots did he take? It wasn't many, man. It was all layups at the rim. I think he missed 8 or 7 or 8 really close in, proximity of the rim. Like in and out,
How
like
many of those
halfway
do you think
down.
he would normally make?
So on a normal game, this is something I've gone back and forth with. Let's just say that he, hit 5 for 8 of those, right? So he would end up of the night with, I don't know, like 18, 20 points, which
20
is
points,
normal
yeah.
for him. So it was hard for me to watch Josh struggle that much because he's being so aggressive. He wanted it and he was just not falling in. And the shots that were falling in that when he was finishing, it was like, damn, that was a nice shot. Like he was utilizing all of the backboard. He was utilizing all of the space in the lane. He was doing everything you want except for finishing. And to me, that's not a knock on him. That's just you know what? It will go in and we'll be all right.
For sure, dude.
What's up,
What's up, El
Alessandra?
Sombra? Good to see you, buddy. Two things from El Sombra. Every Chet block turned into a bucket on the other end for us.
Nice, dude.
Great pick up there, El Sombra. Number two, last year we started out 4-3 in the first 7, but we started out 0-3 at the beginning. We got the next 3 of the 4 wins against injured teams, which is completely opposite of this year, as we've never been below 500 this year. At this point, 7 games in, and El Sombra, you're exactly right. That's one of the big reasons we're like, oh man, we don't want to drop this game to Atlanta, right? Because like all of a sudden it's like the wind is out of our sails. We're below 500.
Yeah.
But who's up next, Dave? We got Wednesday. Like we got to keep fighting because we're not going to be automatically stay above 500.
We get the Cavs again. Yeah, the Cavs again, bro.
That's tough, bro.
That's a tough one, especially just playing him recently. But it's the way the cookie crumbles, man.
How do you feel about Atlanta? Like we beat them. I feel like they actually have a pretty good team.
Yeah, they got a
But
great team. They've got a good bench. Mark, you said like multiple times. Damn, they've got him coming off the bench, so they've got a good bench. They've got a good starting lineup. I feel like they're very well rounded. So for us, this was a great win because of that. You look at guys like Isaiah Joe, who started the game 0 for 3 and 3-pointers, right?
yeah.
And
Yeah,
then he
opened up,
comes to the
baby.
corner and he just nails the corner 3 and he gets confidence and hits the next 2 right in a row. Hits like 3 threes in a matter of like, I want to say 45 seconds, maybe 50
Right.
seconds. So
It was
like
fast.
anytime that you have a player that's able to do what he's able to do, that's incredible. You had Case and Wallace, who's just out there like we've already talked about, but Dort, man, Dort's been bringing it up a whole new level. And I said this
Offensive has been
before.
incredible.
Yeah, and I said this before with Dort is that if we could get Dort playing to the level of averaging 20 points a game, this team is going to be almost unstoppable because if you put Dort at 20 points a game, then the rest of the guys are just making up these extra buckets. And I think that's the thing about it is that Dort was incredibly efficient. He shot 6 for 10 on just 10 shots on the night, man. So he was able to get 19 points and 10 shots. And to me, like that's what we have to go with. Like having somebody that's an extra piece like that is a complete and amazing thing to have because without Dort last night and the way he shot and opening the floor for Shea, we don't win and Shea doesn't score 30 points because Dort shooting as well as he has in the last 2 games has made it impossible for anybody to leave him alone, which is the exact thing that we need to have when we have spacing out on the floor. Shea said it at the end of the game. He just wanted to come in and be an extra piece because of how well this offense ran against Golden State. And that's exactly what Shea is able to do. He comes in there and is able to fill that spot so well. It's everybody though, man. And the way that we run that offense and the way that everybody's getting downhill and recognizing where to get the ball and who to get the ball to is the most impressive. Dort leads that way, man. For whatever reason, he stepped up this season. And I got to say is if there's been one player that has impressed me the most so far in the season with wanting it more than anybody else, it has to be Dort, man. It has to be Dort. Yes, we got rookies that want it really bad, but Dort's ass is on the fucking line right now. Casey Wallace is playing like an animal out there. And what does Dort do? Motherfucker, I got another level I'm stepping up to. And that's what we need.
Yeah, man. I mean, appreciate you, El Sombra. What's up, Mwani?
Hell yeah, Alessandro.
I just want to
Appreciate that,
say,
man.
you know, kind of building off of what both Mwani and El Sombra are saying, like Dort stepping up into his role, playing this level of efficiency, playing the level of defense, and ultimately, back to Mwani's first point, like we held the Hawks backcourt in check. Like we're talking about 2 All-Stars, Trae Young and DeJounte Murray. We came back off of playing 2 All-Stars, 2 of the greatest players ever, really, with Steph and Clay. And we're sitting there and we're D'ing up. We're
Naveed, what's
D'ing
up,
up
buddy?
these elite guards. These teams have been built around having 2 elite guards. right? And we have no problem matching up with them and shutting them down and keeping them in check. It's just really been a beautiful thing. And back to Alsambra's point number 3, like this is what we've been talking about. You know, it goes back to Chet, it goes back to Kaysen, it goes back to this immediate impact. I mean, let's just think about that real quick. If we would take away Chet from this year, what's our record?
I think we'd probably be something like 3-4 probably right now. 3 and 4,
5, maybe 2 and 5.
I think Shea's played well enough, and I think the games that
Which games would we win without Chet? Maybe one.
Well, I look at, I mean,
what do you guys think? Alsambra, what do you think? What do you think, Mwani? What's up, Naveed? Good to see you. What do you guys think? If we didn't have Chet, where would this season be at?
I think we beat the Pistons.
All right.
I think we beat the Bulls.
All right. And you know what? We
might. I do think that we could get a win against. What's that?
Chet had a huge game against the Bulls.
Yeah.
We might not beat the Bulls.
You're right. We might be to be like, okay, well, who's next to us? Oh yeah, Memphis.
Right. And then at 2 and 5, like Naveed says, and that's kind of where I feel like I'm like, what are we looking at right now? And I don't want to be facetious. Like this is no lie, dude. We're looking at draft picks. We're looking at the up and coming players if we're 2 and 5 right now.
Yeah.
And that's just because without Chet, we're still a piece away. But with Chet, we're like, hey man, like 4 and 3 ain't bad. 4 and 3 is nice. Like let's stay above 500. Nobody's thinking about draft picks. We're just thinking about incremental improvement, development.
All right, let's do it. Let's talk about it. Cavs, Kings, Suns, Spurs, Warriors, and Warriors. All right, that's our next games right there. What do we go? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's 6 games. All right, we'll go even. Bro, so we can. Some people say 500.
I'm just gonna say right now, like there's a very good chance we lose all those games.
All right, let's just.
As a big Thunder fan, if I was looking from the outside and I said, which one of those games do you think the Thunder should win? I would say none of them.
All right, I'm gonna play. I'm gonna play what I love to do right here. Let's go with this. Cavs. Let's just say we lose the Cavs game because we already beat the Cavs and so close, right? Beat the Kings, beat the Suns, beat the Spurs. We split with the Warriors. I think we could go 4 and 2 over the next 6.
But why do you think we're gonna beat the Spurs?
Why do I think we're gonna beat the Spurs? Because I think when a push comes to shove, is the Spurs kind of made us upset the last game we had against them.
All right.
So, and knowing that everybody is talking about Victor this, Victor that, Victor this, and Chet's not getting a single word right now, everybody's going to be watching that game. And on top of that, it's a tournament game. So everybody's going to be watching that game. And I feel like if Chet comes out there and just plays astonishingly well, which I know he can, then I feel like everybody's going to stop and be like, okay, this is ridiculous how much Chet is better than Victor right now.
Okay, but here's the thing. Realistically, the Spurs just beat the Suns like twice. So like if the version of the Spurs that are playing right now, if they stay healthy and we play against that version.
But what are the Suns' weaknesses, bro? The Suns' weaknesses is when their guys come off the floor. Their starting guys come off the floor, right? What is one of the Spurs' strengths is when the guys come off the floor, right? On top of that, Victor's playing like 38 minutes a game right now in some of these games. Like his minute use is high. That's not going to continue playing against us and stuff like that. They're not going to do that because we're going to be harder to match up with.
The only game that we look at and we say like for sure we should win, but there's also like the unknown is that Spurs game.
Yeah. Well, listen, I think we could win both Warriors games because we just hate them so much. We hate them so much.
I know what you mean, but bro, I know what you mean. But let's just face it, dude. Like we're not. Unless they don't come in focused, we're not like a better team than them. We're on our way up and they're on their way down or they're plateaued or whatever.
I think we're like this right here, man. I think there's moments that we can be better, but like I think this last game, if coach is getting into the locker room and he says anything to the guys, is like you let the game stay close. You let the game the game come down to one shot. Like I think that's the thing is that like if you're sitting in a position as a coach and saying refs this, refs that, blah, 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 blah. No, if you're looking at it and you're being smart about the situation, you say, guys, This game came down to because we did not finish. We didn't finish some easy shots. And that's as simple as that. Like, we got to get better next game. And we saw
I
what
know what you
happened
mean,
was Shea's
but the
almost whole
Warriors
week
played
of
like
break.
shit too. I didn't think the Warriors played good. I mean, Steph had 30, but it was just like they won. They know how to do what it takes to win because
Yeah.
they're like that. But I guess my only point is, like, say we did drop all but one of the games
Yeah.
that are upcoming.
So we're
Like,
one
we
and
wouldn't
five.
necessarily be, we wouldn't be off for what we're trying to accomplish this season, because this is just one of those stretches where you look at it and you're like the Kings are really good. I think Fox is still out. I'm not sure, but last I heard he was.
They're
So
2 and
like
5 though right now, the Kings.
there's a soft spot there, but also if you look at what the Kings did last year, and they when they played against us, how well they played, teams tend to play really well against us, and if they get confidence, they can come back and play that game again.
I
Like,
hear you, but like this is where I really struggle is that the Kings were really good in a what I would consider a weak conference last year, or injured weak conference. Okay, like
mhm.
I don't think that in a normal situation that the Kings could go out and win 48 plus wins. So but looking at this Thunder team and seeing the structure of this Thunder team and seeing if this was last year and this team was as good as we are now, I think the Thunder could win 52 games
Right.
against the West
But there are
last year.
there are tough parts of the season.
And I gotta say this: those tough parts of the seasons, looking out right now, seem tough. But as we get closer, we're gonna see injuries. We're gonna see people go down, and then all of a sudden, those tough games aren't gonna be very tough because there's so many of these old teams that are one injury away from destruction. We saw what happened when we had one injury. It was Shea. We played against the Warriors, lost by 2. You know what I'm saying? Like, we could have guys go down and miss games and be part of their rest and be okay. A lot of teams don't have that luxury to sit KD or sit LeBron or, sit, Joker. You know what I'm saying? Like, they don't have that luxury. They have to lean on these guys to go 30 plus minutes, 35, 36, 37 minutes. They're going to get injured throughout the year, and leading for this young Thunder team to go on these winning streaks that people are going to be like, how in the world do they do this? Well, it's because everything lined up. They're playing well and injuries happened.
So if we could find a way to somehow, like, even Atlanta, like, that was not a given. That took everything we had, and
Everything.
we were able to close it. But like, we're still learning that, like, hey, we can beat teams, and here's how you close a game, and you don't have to come from behind at the end to win. Like, that's how we usually won our games over the last few years. And now we're like, hey, you're ahead, keep the distance, keep finishing. I heard,
That's
I
right.
think, J-Dub say, we played our best when we weren't playing to keep the lead, but we were playing to be aggressive. And that's a new thing for us, because it's like
But
we
do you
get
see
the lead
Coach
like right
calling
at the end of the
timeout
game.
and saying that?
He's pissed.
He
You're
was
right.
pissed. He's like, why are you guys doing this? Run the offense, run it, keep running it, discipline. And, that's what we need. We have a bunch of young guys learning how to walk right now. And as much as that's insulting to hear, it's not more insulting than reading the top 25 players under 25 and realizing 2 things. One, we don't have a player in the top 10. Chet was ranked 13th on that
Hmm.
list. It's insane, bro. Like, it's truly insane how much disrespect. We had 13, like 15 and 16 or 17 and 18, whatever it was. Jalen Williams was 17 and 18 was Josh Giddey. That's it. And it's just like, well, again, we cannot rank Chet higher than he needs to be. We can't do that. Like, everybody will like this team too much. Like, what's going on right here? I have no idea. It's the most disrespectful bullshit I've seen in a long time.
But here's the thing, right? Everything I said is true. Like, we could drop all these games, but there's a
Yes.
place that a team can play where they understand, like, that nobody else's opinion about the team matters other than the people in the locker room. And if they play for each other, if they play for the next open guy, if they play for the extra pass and the extra pass on top of the extra pass, right? We become incredibly difficult to beat. And that's even amongst teams that have been elite for a long time, because we have that many guys who can contribute in so many unique ways that need attention on the scouting report, that teams are just bound to make mistakes whenever you run out different lineups like Coach D does. And when you can really lock in and say, like, hey, the world is against us. Most people don't think we can get this done. Like, I think on the flip side, we could win 7 games in a row right here and walk through it in kind of the same way that we did in January of last year, where we went on the road and we were supposed to drop half the games, but it was like a 7-game road trip, 5 to 7 game win streak that all of a sudden we went from just outside the playoff picture to right in the middle of being able to hang on for that play-in game. And the whole NBA took notice. Like, it was outside of the NBA fans because the games were nationally televised. Some of them were. We had ESPN buzzing, we had TNT buzzing. So it was a really exciting time. And I feel like while I do believe we could lose all these games, I feel like this is the moment where the team kind of like says, like, we're for real. Like, we're not a 500 team.
Yeah.
And if we could take this moment and actually advance our position while we're going through some of the tougher spots, and then take care of business when the schedule lightens up a little bit, and then some of the elements, like you were saying, get mixed in there. Like, we're looking at the team, we're like, hey, this team coming up is going to be a tough team, but then this circumstances and this adversity the team faces, and now the team actually isn't as tough as we thought when we got the schedule was released. That happened a lot last year.
Oh yeah.
There were a ton of teams where like, this is going to be an elite team, and then it was like, you were like, hey, this could be an easy game as the season went on, and that will happen. So
100%,
all
man.
those circumstances coming into play, and our next man up mentality, Coach Dagnall being the man for the moment. I mean, like, let's see what happens. Let's just keep showing up. Let's enjoy the ride. But I have a feeling that we know we haven't even played our best basketball yet.
Hell yeah,
But
dude.
I need to give Shea a ton of credit because you mentioned something that, there's discussion while we were watching the game with everybody. It's like, is this team better without Shea? And we weren't saying like, is the team better without Shea, as much as like, do the rest of the guys play up whenever Shea's out there? And when everybody else plays up, what does that mean? Are we, in fact, maybe a better team, or maybe a better ball movement, maybe a better whatever? And Shea came back and he was like, I noticed it too.
Yeah.
That's what
Yeah.
I felt like he said. He said, when we were out, we were playing really good. Actually, you say what you said, because I don't remember exactly.
No, I was just saying is like when we see Shea out of the game, a lot of times we see this offense like at a very high level. Like everybody's passing the ball, they're getting a foot in the lane, they're just doing something at an incredible level, right? And I like it. When Shea comes out of the game in games and you see the offense click, right? And then Shea comes back and we start relying on Shea. We come down the court and we see a pick and roll, and then we see a lazy pass to Shea or whatever. Like it just gets in the monotonous, aspect of it, and it's just going through the motions. So when I'm looking at this and I'm seeing this and I see Shea come out of the game and the guys start working harder, then we watch the Warriors game where we put up 139 points where our offense was on point. Like it's not a knock on Shea. Like it's just we rely on Shea a lot. That's not a diss on saying when Shea gets the ball, the offense stops. No, because that's a whole team thing. That's not just a Shea thing. And to me, like I see what Coach D is trying to get through the guys, especially, he's using a lot of timeouts, guys. If you watch him, he uses a timeout and he goes straight to the spot that he wants the player to look at him at, and he talks about that spot, and it's important that these guys are understanding where to be at, because the offense, when we're running the offense, it's perfect. We saw it last night. Shea was part of the offense. He wasn't the offense. James Harden said it, and it always has bugged me. What it was, I am not part of a system. I am a system. Like think about how many NBA players are like that. Whereas Shea says, I sit out for a game and I recognize the system is running at a high level and I just needed to go in there and go for the flow. Like that's a mature ass man right there. That's somebody I want to be a leader on my team. And that's why we have to sit here and we have to get excited about this Oklahoma City Thunder team. We're not sitting here fucking around with names anymore. And that's why we'll be back here tomorrow at 8:00, guys. 8:00 Eastern, 7:00 Central. And I'm excited about the Cavs, man, because if we can pull this win off right here, that's the second game against the Cavs, and they can go suck Cavs dick, man, because we're good.
And realistically, we are playing better basketball than we were then. We just are. We're a better team than we were then. And that's a testament to the development of these guys. Shout out everybody in the chat. We love you.
Appreciate
Thank you for hanging out with us. And we can't wait for
Appreciate
the next
you,
game.
Alessandra.
Once again, Alessandra, thank you. And shout out to Dort too, right? He heard all the Cavs was asking.
Love you, Dort.
Asking to trade him.
I hope you know
said,
that
I'll
there's
show
no
y'all.
diss. No diss for you,
This is it.
Dort. I just challenged you, and I'm glad that you somehow are out there.
Listening.
We
We
love
love you guys. We'll see you next time.